Hello everybody, welcome back. Now that we have completed the basic bodies block, I hope you found it not too hard. The more you practice, the easier it gets. That I promise you. Now we're going into the most, I would say, the single most important part of pattern drafting, which is dart manipulation. First of all, what is dart manipulation? Dart manipulation is simply the way we treat the darts, right, to enable us create different designs. It's the transfer or the movement of a dart from one location of the block to another. Most times it is done to either create a style line or to give way for design, right? Dart manipulation is one of the foundations. In short, it is the foundation of pattern design in fashion, right? It's actually the foundation. You can't go too far in pattern drafting, in fashion design, without understanding dart manipulation. So the basic principle of dart manipulation is that any transfer line done must touch or pass through the apex of the dart. That means the point of the dart, which is normally the bust point. The apex of the dart is the highest point of the dart, so which is normally the bust point. When it comes to the bodies block, is the bust point for the front. Darts can either be transferred, ignored, or integrated into any preferred style, right? You can turn your darts into the excess of your darts. You can turn it into pleats, you can turn it into darts, you can turn it into tucks, or you can just sew it in, or you can integrate it into a style and create a style with it, which is what we're going to do in the second part of dart manipulation. So there are some basic points which is generally known for dart transfer, where you can move your darts to and from, and those points are shown here on this block. Here I have this is my half block front center. This is the center front. I have cut it off at the waist, right, to show you this. So those points are, this is my waist dart, which is already the one that is already shown on the block. This is my waist dart. Here is called a front dart, a French dart, sorry. French dart. If you transfer your dart to this line, it's called a French dart. Here is your side or straight dart. Your side or straight dart is located 4 to 6 cm below the armhole. Then we have the mid armhole dart. Your mid armhole dart is taken from the part that you notched, the notched part of your block. When creating the block, you remember that we had some points which we noted. That point there, where we made our curve at. We have the shoulder tip dart. That means the dart is transferred to the shoulder tip. We have the mid armhole shoulder, mid shoulder dart there, the mid neck, the center front neck, the center front dart, and the center front waist dart. Those are 10 positions right now that are shown here. I would advise that you draw them as references, because we're going to start transferring, moving the darts from one point to the other. So the first thing that we do is to trace out we're going to trace out our half bodice block from here. So I'm going to trace out now my half bodice block, and then we'll start with the transfer, with the dart transfer. I'm going to teach you two methods of that dart transfer. We're going to do the slash and transfer, and then we're going to do the pivot method of dart transfer. These two transfer techniques will help you in different ways depending on how you want to treat your darts. So what I'm going to do first of all is to combine the darts. So I'm going to combine both the bust dart and the weight dart to create. I'm going to transfer all these darts to the waist. When transferring darts, you draw your line to touch the bust point. So I'm going to take it from the leg of this dart, and I'm going to draw it up to touch my bust point. There. From the leg of the dart to the bust point. I'm also going to extend this center line. To be able to transfer a dart, you have to create a space when you are using the slash and transfer method. Since you have to create a space for the dart to increase, because I'm combining the darts right now, what you do is on that center line, you slash up to the bust point, not through it, just to that point, right? Once you're done with that, you take the shoulder dart or the bust dart and fold. You fold, you close it up that way, right? So I'm closing up. You can see that as I close it, the waist dart gets wider. So you close it. So now I've successfully transferred my bust dart to my waist. You close it and then use some tape. To hold it down. So now this is what you end up with, but we're not done yet. You take your sheet of paper, right? I'm going to hold it down so that you can see what I'm doing properly. So I'm going to trace round I'm going to trace around my block. You'll notice that when I'm tracing around this block, remember that this point here is where your dart is. This is where your dart leg is, not here. Your new is the same dart leg here, not here. So I'm going to trace it and stop at that point and start from this point here and complete my tracing. I'll also mark. I'm going to use my owl. To mark the bust point there. To be sure I got the bust point. Use my owl to mark the bust point. So I'm going to remove this right now. And set that one aside. And now you see I'll draw my dart legs to my bust points. I'm going to label all my parts. So this is my bust point. Here, center front. My center front. Okay, to complete this transfer, we have to true our lines, meaning that we have to, I can't just draw a straight line here, because my darts eventually my darts will not meet if I draw a straight line here. So I have to true them. And when you transfer a dart, you always have to reduce the length of the dart, right? Because when you sew it up, you do not want to have a point on your nipple. You don't want to have a point on your nipple. So we're going to bring this down by 2 centimeters. Just find the center, bring it down by 2 centimeters, and redraw your dart. So between 2 and 2.5 centimeters, you bring it, you lower your dart leg. So what I'll do now is to clean off the other one so that you don't get confused. And then I'm going to cut it out. But I'm going to cut it out, leaving some space here so that I'll show you how to true your dots. So, when folding your darts, you fold towards the side seam, right? The bulk should be towards the side seam. So, we're going to pick our darts, following the lines. And fold this way. Right? Then you use your tracing wheel and score your lines and follow those lines so that when we open it up, we'll see where to complete the shape of our block. Great. So we label this block, right? So this is Mecca's block, Mecca's bodice block, front, combined dart, right? Combined darts, because I combined both the two darts to form this. So this is Mecca's. This here still marked as my BP, which is my bust point. So we're going to finish up with this dart. Dart manipulation is like one of the most exciting parts of pattern drafting, because it helps you create beautiful work by just moving darts around and treating them in different ways. You create beautiful designs. So here we are now with all the darts transferred to the waistline. So we're going to continue. We're going to do, I'm going to show you how to transfer to some other parts, and then you will do the rest yourself. So we're going to move, we're going to transfer. We're going to do the French dart. We're going to do the side, that's the straight dart. We're going to do the mid-armhole, and we're going to do the shoulder tip. All the rest you are going to do yourself, following the same principle of slash and transfer that you're going to see me doing for the rest of them. So once again, I'm going to take my block. Okay. You can transfer from any point to any point. It doesn't always have to be from the waist dart. Please note. You can transfer from any point to any point. So using this particular block, I'm going to do all the other transfers so that you can see that I can transfer from any point to any point. It's the same principle. You draw your lines first to the dart. From the dart legs, you draw all your lines to the bust point and then slash and transfer. So then trace around this block again. Please use something to hold it down if be sure that, so that you get accurate measurements. So I'm going to mark my bust point there. Because I want to transfer to a French dart, I'm going to draw my darts all the way to the bust point. You see that? So we remember that my French dart goes down towards the waistline. So I'm going to use my French dart. There. I'm going to cut this out. Dart transfer is very, very easy. What is normally hard for people is understanding the design, right? And trying to understand, okay, how was this dart treated for this person to get this design? And we're going to deal with that soon, after you have mastered dart transfer. Right, so I'm going to just get sheet of paper here so that I can fill up the space. So you remember what we did? French dart, so our aim here is to transfer the dart from the waist dart to the French dart, right? So we slash on the line, on the French dart line, or whichever dart line you, on the line that we made to the French dart towards the bust, do not cut through. And then we fold the dart that we want to transfer, we close it. We fold and close it up. And now we have our dot in the new position. So I'm just going to fill up that space now. Instead of transferring it to another paper and redrawing it, which we can actually do so that we can have, instead of doing that, you can always just fill up the space. You can always just fill up that space. Or you can do what we did before, put it on another sheet of paper and draw around and mark. So right now I'm going to show you just filling up the space that we have just created. Then I redraw my lines. Here, don't forget to shorten your dot from the boss point. I'm going down 2.5 centimeters. I'm going to reduce my dot by 2.5 centimeters. That's about an inch. Okay, 2 centimeters, 2 to 2.5 centimeters. Some people go all the way down to 3 centimeters. So I'll redraw to the dot legs. I hope it's clear. Let me get something darker. Mark your original boss point and then label. Well, before we label, we have to true our dots. So we're going to fold this to touch. Use your tracing wheel and trace. And then cut out. So now we have our French dot bodice. I'm going to label it. This is Mecca's but it's block, front, French, dot, right? So we're going to transfer, we're going to just keep, that's what we're going to keep doing. We're just going to keep on moving our dots. For me to be able to transfer this dot from here to the next one is 4 centimeters, the straight dot, 4 centimeters below the armhole. That's 4 centimeters below the armhole, 4 cm. Down from the armhole is my straight dot. So using the same block, if we want to transfer from, for example, if you want to transfer from the French dot to the straight dot, what you do is to draw a line from 4 cm below the armhole to the bust point. Always remember that it is to the bust point. So you draw that line to the bust point, and then you transfer. You also extend from the leg of the dart you want to transfer to the bust point and to the bust point, right? So now we're going to, let me pick another dart I will do. So now I'm going to skip the side dart. You will do that by yourself. We're going to do the mid armhole. The mid armhole dart is what is normally used for what is called the princess seams, right? We'll get to the princess, although this is a basic course, but I'll also teach you how to create your princess seam. So right now, and I'll also teach you how to show you how you can treat darts in different ways. So right now we're going to do, I'm trying to think of which other darts to show you how to do. I'll just show you a few more. Quickly, so that you can understand, just get used to the technique of slash and transfer, and then we'll move on to the pivot method.